Shalom, WJC family. It's nice to be back with you for our weekly Torah Talk. This week in Shul, we will be reading Parshat Eikev in the book of Deuteronomy. We're already a few parshiot into Moshe's great speech that is the book of Deuteronomy, as he tries to advise the Israelites about exactly how they should behave when they get into the promised land. He, of course, will not be there with them. His leadership will end on the east bank of the River Jordan. In Parshat Eikev, we find the middle paragraph of the Shema. You may be familiar. If not, the Shema has three paragraphs. The first is the Shema and the V'ahavta. If you're familiar with the Shema, that's the one that you're most familiar with. The third paragraph actually comes from earlier in the book of Bamidbar. That's the Vayomer paragraph. And here, the second paragraph is called V'haya im Shemoah, and it links the first paragraph about loving God, and the third paragraph, which is about wearing tzitzit, is linked by this passage. It goes, V'haya im Shemoah. If then you obey the commandments that I enjoin you upon you this day, loving the Lord your God, and serving God with all your heart and with all your soul. And before I tell you what happens next, there's a question. The question is, why do Jewish? Right? Why do we do mitzvot as Jews? Does God really care if I pray 3 times a day, if I don't eat shellfish, if I wear tzitzit, if a talis? Does God really care how I treat my neighbor? Does God really care if I observe the Shabbat, and so on and so forth? Why, if I don't think God is paying particular attention to what I'm doing, then why am I doing mitzvot? And the second paragraph of the Shema comes to challenge us even further, because what it says next, if you do the commandments, ... if you do the mitzvot, ... I will grant the rain in your land in its season, early and late, and you're going to grow a lot and eat a lot and be satisfied. But if you don't, if you worship other gods, I'm going to shut off the rain and the ground won't grow for you and you're going to starve. Now, why is this challenging? Because I'm not sure that we really believe that doing mitzvot is turning on the rain valve and off the rain valve in the land of Israel. But that seems to be what this says, and this is the Shema, our most important prayer, our most central prayer. So what is it trying to get at? We have a tendency, I think it's cultural, because of the dominant culture, the predominant culture in which most of us live, to view sentiments like this like reward and punishment, right? And so it looks like it says, if you do the commandments, I will reward you with rain, and if you don't, I will punish you with drought. But I think that's not the only way to read this. I think there's a better way to read it. And the rabbis tend to agree. So Rabbi Natan, one of the rabbis of the Talmud, says, there is not a single mitzvah in the Torah, even the most minor, whose reward is not enjoyed in this world. As to its reward in the future world, I do not know how great it is. Right? Basically, Rabbi Natan is saying, I've never been to the Olam Haba. I've never been to the world to come. So I can't tell you what it's like there, how you're rewarded or punished by things there. However, I know in this world, every mitzvah has its reward. Well, look, we all know that bad things happen to good people, that good people are often not rewarded for their good behavior, or what we seem to see as good behavior. That kind of justice and balance just doesn't seem to work in the world, at least on its face. So what is Rabbi Natan trying to tell us? That the reward for a mitzvah is enjoyed in this world, if we don't always see the reward for a mitzvah enjoyed in this world. Right? Sometimes we're good and it still doesn't rain, so to speak, metaphorically speaking. Well, the rabbis give us another insight, and this might be what Rabbi Natan is getting at. Right? We read in chapter 4 of Pirkei Avot, Ben Azai says, Schar mitzvah mitzvah. The reward of a mitzvah is a mitzvah. That seems odd, right? What do you mean the reward of a mitzvah for a mitzvah is a mitzvah? Right? That the doing of the mitzvah itself is somehow a reward. Now let's read that back into the second paragraph of the Shema. Maybe it's not telling us about reward and punishment, but maybe it's telling us about simple consequences of our actions. Maybe it's telling us that when we do these mitzvot, when we behave in the way that God recommends us, commands us to behave, that ultimately life feels better. That there's something about living a mitzvahdic life, something about following the precepts of God as God has laid them out in the Torah, as the rabbis have interpreted them many different ways since then, that is in itself makes life better. That the consequences of a mitzvah-driven life are a more positive life. It will feel like abundance even in times of drought. And when we wander from the path, it will feel like drought even in times of abundance. It will never be enough because we won't have the wisdom, we won't have the actions to see the good around us, however much there is. The brilliance of mitzvot is that we use them to draw out the meaning, the beauty, the joy in the world, even in bad times, to recognize the holiness all around us in behaving in a way that God tells us, thus helping us connect to God, to feel that sense of holiness in our lives. In that way, the mitzvah itself is a reward, and it's not that God's going to reward us for doing the mitzvah, but in fact, by just following the world, just like a parent. And we feel closer to our parents when we are following sort of their advice or their desires, even as adult children. So too with God. The mitzvah itself is an opportunity to connect to God, an opportunity to be close to God. And in that way, when we are following the mitzvot, when we allow God and holiness and Jewish practice to be part of our lives, we are more sensitive to the abundance of holiness and sacredness and joy and opportunities for connection with other people and opportunities to make the world better through tikkun olam. All of that when we are behaving in the ways that Judaism says we should behave. And then when we're not, when we're just doing whatever we want, no matter how much we get, it'll never seem like enough. We don't have that perspective. And in that way, schar mitzvah mitzvah. Right? The reward of the mitzvah is the mitzvah itself. Just doing it already helps us see the rewards that are all around us in this life, helps us have that sense of abundance that's talked about in the second paragraph of the Shema. May we all embrace our practice and mitzvot in that way, and thus be able to see all the beauty in our lives. May we experience it, may we embrace it, and may we share it with others, making the world more beautiful for us all. Shabbat Shalom.